Hello folks, my name is Chris Aguilar here with Selfie Booth. I've been tasked to provide walkthrough and training on using the DSLR photo booth application and how to set up your photo booth for a particular event using the client's desired design and layout. So I will walk you through how this whole unit works for the most part once you turn it on and are faced with this screen. So when you turn on the selfie booth unit, basically you connect it to the power source and immediately it will turn off by itself. The booth unit is actually a computer connected to a DSLR camera. The computer uses an application called DSLR booth here, and this is what we use to run our events to client specifications. So let me run you through how to use this application in general. Right, so when you click DSLR booth application, this is the first screen that you will be faced with. So what happens is every time you go to an event, you turn on the unit turns on, you're faced with that first screen, you click DSLR booth, and here you are. You are now in a new event. Where do we start? The first thing you're going to want to do is actually go to this button right here called New Event. So you click on it. First thing you're going to do is name your new event. What are you going to name it? You're going to refer back to your Google Calendar event invite, and you're going to name it the name of the client or the event name plus the date. So basically I will just have a placeholder here for name of the event and then the date. So it could be, XX. Cool. So always refer to your Google Calendar for this information. Once you have that ready, you go to launch event. That's first step for getting set up. Second step is that you're gonna have to import the client's design layout. To do that, you're gonna head over to, you're gonna find your drop-down menu here, and then you're gonna zoom over. You're gonna disregard most of this all right now. We're all gonna be concerned about this option right here on this menu. It's called print layout. It's gonna help configure our design. When you click that print layout option, you're gonna be faced with this giant screen. This looks intimidating, but really you should not be intimidated. Most of this has already been done for you. What you need to take care of is to import the correct design. So you're gonna click right here where it says import. You're gonna click import, and it's gonna present you with a file finder option. And because you are trying to set up your design, you have to go to the print design folder option. Once you click on the print design folder option, you will see different folders for the different cities we operate under. I mean, this could be, I don't know, I'm assuming maybe it's, I'm not sure what city this is. This is LA, this is Las Vegas, this is Miami, this is Pennsylvania, presumably, San Diego, San Francisco. We're in LA, so let's do that for now. And then you'll be faced with the different layouts for the different client events we have active right now. Let's start with this one, for example, and let's see what they have going on in terms of event. So this is the layout that got imported. Just so you know, just to repeat that again, print design, choose the city. We're in LA, so we'll just pick that, and then choose the event date and name of the client you are doing. For example, it could be this one. It's a different design. LA, maybe it could be this one. They're all a little different, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Let's go with a different one. Let's go with the first one that we did. LA, and then the first one. Great. So now this entire screen has, once you've imported your desired and specific client design, this screen for the most part has been taken care of. What you do need to pay attention to is this paper size needs to match the design. What do I mean? So this design is actually a 2x6 strip. Okay, these are the strips that come 2 at a time out of the printer once you hit print during a session. So because they are 2x6 strips, you need to make sure the paper size, which is right here, is selected for 2x6, and you have to make sure the setting right here called print 2 per page is toggled. It's to be toggled on. Okay, and you'll notice, for example, as a contrast, let's say we go to this event. The design is different. So instead of a strip, this is actually going to be a 4x6 photograph. And so the paper size has already changed because it got imported. And you don't mess with this, right? If it's already been imported. It's a 4x6, so just keep it that way. Let's go back to our original choice right here. So as you can see, again, 2x6 strip, and then print 2 per page, so that way it's gonna, do strip style this way. So now that design has been set, we still have to make sure our printer settings, meaning the hardware of our unit's printer, is matching the client's design layout. So we went to print layout, but now we have to make sure our print setup is correct. So we're going to click on print setup. Once you click print setup, this is going to deal with the settings of the printer. This is our printer name. This is the designation of the name or the model of the printer that's in the unit. You're going to access the settings by clicking configure printer. Once you click configure printer, this is the first menu screen of the settings. Do not worry about any of this, but what you do have to go and click into to delve deeper is preferences. This is the second screen. This is level 2. For this screen, you do not have to worry about any of these settings either. For all events, our orientation is going to be landscape. Our paper order is going to be front to back, and the default is good. Pages per sheet, just 1. We're good to go. Don't have to worry about these settings. Just to make sure you have the right settings for a 2x6 strip event, you have to go to advanced options, right? And then you get this third level of a menu once you hit advanced options, or the advanced printer options. You only have 2 things to worry about here. Paper size, which is always, and I mean basically always, just going to be 6x4. Do not change this. Okay? I say do not change this, but what I mean is make sure it's 6x4. Sometimes by accident it could be, you could accidentally click on a different size, but make sure for all the events it's going to be on this menu, it's going to be 6x4. Okay? And because we are dealing with an event that is asking for 2x6 strips instead of a 4x6 rectangular photograph, the 2x6 strips, the printer, we're going to tell it to enable this 2-inch cut. So you can disregard most of these, if not all the settings, until you come down to 2-inch cut, because in order to get strips, you're telling the printer to enable cutting at the 2-inch mark so it can render them out as they print. So make sure that's obviously enabled. Now, as a point of contrast, if the event wasn't strips, a non-strip 4x6 designation, meaning it's a square photograph that they're asking instead of strips, this has to get toggled to disable, right? Because otherwise it's going to cut your single rectangle. It's going to cut your single rectangle photo. But for strips, we need to have the 2-inch cut. We click OK. We click OK again. And from here, you have to hit print, okay? You have to hit print because actually print is going to save your settings. It's a bit of a quirk, but that's how the software works. In order to save whatever changes you made, you're going to have to hit this print button so it says printer settings saved, as you can see. Fantastic. So we're basically 2 out of 3 for now, which means our layout has been taken care of. Our printer matches our design. So as you can see, this is what we designated. We designated our design, and when we print out our photos, we made sure our printer would be able to spit out 2 copies of this. Okay, that's what we made sure our printer settings were matching. Let's move on to talking and discussing and configuring beauty filters and black and white optionalities for our sessions. Some clients will ask for an option that involves making sure the photos come out in black and white, but also have a glam beauty filter that takes out blemishes and sort of smooths out skin. How can we, toggle these things on? We're gonna find those filter options under the effects and stickers option here. So we click on it. This is gonna be very easy. So when you have a black and white, when you get your Google Calendar invite, you have to make sure you check what the client is asking for. If they're asking for this beauty filter and black and white option, you have to, check that and make sure it is. It's very easy. Once you get under effects and stickers, you toggle this on, and then you toggle this on. Let's say the client wants all their photos for their event to automatically have the beauty filter and the black and white filter. We're gonna hit apply automatically to the filters, and we're gonna configure the filter, okay? So in the case that they only want every single photo, regardless, to have the black and white glam situation be put on, you're just gonna make sure this is toggled on, okay? Save settings, right? Launch event. And as you can see, every photo, every session that we take is gonna come out black and white. Since there's no subject in front of the camera, the camera has a hard time focusing. However, the camera will focus automatically on the subject, so you don't have to worry about focusing the camera. It'll do it by itself. So that's how we make sure the glam and beauty filter applies to every single photo. However, let's imagine that the client actually wants to have a choice as to whether or not their session, their particular photo that they take, is gonna be either color or with the glam filter that is black and white. We're gonna hit configure again. Since we hit give user a choice, we have to give them more than one choice. So we're gonna click original. You see all these other ones, do not worry about these other filter options. We do not deal with those. We're only giving them the option of original and black and white glam, So just save those settings. Make sure they're both toggled on, and that'll take care of it. Go to save, and then launch event, as always. And so when I click this, it's gonna give you an option. As you can see, since we gave ourselves the option to either have the color or black and white ones, this is what we can choose every time that the user starts a session. We go to next. And this is what comes out. We can hit print. We can send it to them on text, or we can email them. It's very cool. So we can hit print, can hit 2 copies, which basically means it's gonna make 2 strips of this based on our settings that we defined. And the printer will take anywhere between 10 seconds to maybe 15 seconds to print out a strip. As a review, your filter options are gonna be under the effects and stickers. Normally it's gonna look like this. You toggle them on, and then you decide whether it's gonna be apply the filter automatically. Make sure only the black and white glam is toggled on if that's the case. Or if the client decides they need a choice based on what is asked for on the Google Calendar invite, go to ask user to choose, and then you give them more than one option. So that takes care of that as well. Let's move on to background removal, which is even a little more rare than any sort of filter that we might do. The background removal feature is kind of like green screen, which means we can either have a backdrop that is different from what is physically there, meaning we can have a photo, we can have something the client, some media the client wants to use as their background, and we can just make sure that they're in it, which is interesting. So, you know, you click the background removal option and you hit on. We're on the green screen. First of all, for background removal, we're on green screen, right? And the color to remove, we're going to choose that we're going to want to remove this color. And as you can see, it's a little tricky here to try to adjust and smooth out the edges of, you know, the subject, and making sure the subject and the background sort of agree a little bit. You know, sensitivity is going to be too high there. Move it down. You can do it manually, right? You can also ask the thing to do it on auto, but as you can see, that has problems. So you can either figure it out this way with your test photos, but really, to make your life as simple as possible, if you have a background removal situation, you want to use the AI option. You're going to see the difference right now. It's fixing it. And that's maybe the only trade-off about clicking the AI removal. It'll basically take out all the guesswork, but it'll make the computer work a little harder, so the sessions might run a little slower. As you see, I mentioned that you have different options, and the way you load or choose new options to add to this pile, which will be down here. I can delete this, for example, but let's say the client has some image that they want to use as their background. This is going to be the options, but let's say they uploaded a file and they asked for something in particular. Where are you going to find the file that has what the client asked for? The way it goes is print design, the city, and then you go to green screen. Okay, I happen to know that there isn't a green screen option here, so it's okay. But normally, if they did ask for something, this is where it would be. So let's cancel that, and let's just imagine for a moment that we want to have this green grass right here. We just choose there. Choose. Don't worry about this thing at the bottom, only background image, and then you add. Great. So as you can see, the AI removal makes this very easy, and that covers how to handle the background removal green screen option. Always hit launch event. If you need to remove this effect, you just turn this off. Background removal off. Sort of sets you back to just how things were. Hit launch event. There you go, it's gone.